When you hear the music play, you know I'm gonna say it is BW and the Gold. Hey. First and foremost, thank you guys for listening. We sure appreciate you for joining us today. It is Saturday morning. Faith, family, and football, but not necessarily in that order. Welcome once again to BW and the Gold SEC podcast, where we're going to talk football today, NIL stuff, all kinds of great stuff. Got a new commercial person we want to recognize locally today. We're looking forward to that. So, right off the bat, let's talk about in the SEC world, a lot of our states have been absolutely where they were just pounded by Hurricane. Is it Helene or Helen?
Yeah,
or
Helen.
however you say it. Anyway,
Helene.
Helene, that's it. Producer Amy, right as usual. And so, first of all, we just want to say thank you to the tons and tons of volunteers who have been out there and just given their time, their effort, their monies. Dolly Parton, good old Dolly, stepped up yesterday in the parking lot of a Walmart, donated $2 million, $1 million of her own money. And then I think her organization's going to donate another $1 million. It's just going to be, she's doing what she does, which is just care and love on the people of the region. And so many folks are just stepping up.
Yeah, a bunch of people, just friends of ours, people we've grown up with have, the lady that used to babysit me when I was a child, like her and her husband, got their camper, packed it up, went to Food Lion, filled it up, and drove down there.
Yeah.
And just started
Awesome.
handing stuff out, got as close as they could. And that's just one of many stories like that. It's good.
And you said you saw a bunch of trucks?
Yeah, the news reported they had a bunch of dump trucks lined up, just waiting for the whole, ship the mud out.
So many good folks. Well, talking about good folks, and that brings us to Recovery Sports Grill. That's where our hosts are located, and we are here with our new favorite bartender, Miss Laura, and Miss Laura is going to have a few words to talk about Recovery Sports Grill. Go ahead, Laura.
Hi, everyone. It's Laura here from Recovery Sports Grill Chesapeake. Come join me every Saturday for College Game Day lineup, and also please come join me to pull off for my Tigers against Florida State.
We're back?
Yep.
All right. Player of the week, and y'all knew I was going to do this. What about that Alabama-Georgia game? Alabama boys coming out hot, staying hot. And at the end of the day, Alabama leaned on, wait for it, a 17-year-old Ryan Williams from Mobile, Alabama, to catch the winning touchdown pass. What a game. What a just incredible young man.
That guy is a savage. On Twitter, he changed his profile picture to Michael Vick because no one's beat the dogs like that since Michael Vick. That guy, he's on some.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's some 50
That
Cent
is
level Twitter.
absolutely
That's some
fantastic.
spit the hot fire
So,
right there.
Yeah.
a couple things here. 16 receptions, 462 yards, 5 touchdowns. But here's what I wanted to point out. This young guy has a 28.9 yard average. So in other words, every time he touches the ball, he is making nearly 30 yards on a catch. And, a lot of kids his age, that setting, whole country watching, you're playing Georgia, you make the catch at the end of the game. That's good enough. And they would have probably stepped out of bounds. Like, hey, I did good, I did my part. This kid caught it and knew he still hadn't accomplished what he wanted, which was the end zone. And so he then catches it, makes a couple fantastic moves, goes down, scores, and for me, bringing us to another win over the Dogs certainly gets you Player of the Week all week.
I guess you had a lot of things going for you. You had, was it Beck? Was that Georgia guy just having a terrible three quarters?
Well, anytime, I'm sorry, but if you spot a team 28 points in the SEC, even Vanderbilt could probably beat you with
maybe.
that, So
Although it looked bad at the end there.
I tell you what, Georgia,
that Ryan Williams.
kudos to Georgia. Yeah. They came back, made it a game, and really turned it into a really good game. Speaking of good games, let's talk about last week. Texas did exactly what we thought they were going to do. They beat the absolute cowbell out of Mississippi State.
Yep.
Gold almost called this by the point total. Texas won by 22. I think you were just a point or two off, so great job there. I may have miscalled the Ole Miss Kentucky, how bad Ole Miss was going to beat them. I forgot the part about Kentucky beating Ole Miss instead.
Yeah, I think, I'm telling you, Lane Kiffin's got his eye on that Florida job
Well,
so much
you think
that he
he's
just
already
stopped.
leaving?
He's already on the way out.
Fair enough. Kentucky 20, Ole Miss 17. Arkansas and A&M played a spectacular game, just a hard-fought. A&M got them 21-17. Oklahoma beat up on poor Auburn 27-21. And South Alabama 10, LSU 42. So LSU did what it had to. LSU's climbing slowly and steadily back into the rankings.
The more I get to watch the NFL, the more I become an LSU fan.
Why so?
That's because the Commanders quarterback, LSU guy, dominating recently. So now I'm just going to have to backward fan me.
Well, by the way, I saw a great meme on Facebook. They saw Nick Saban was texting.
It's called a meme.
Hilarious.
Oh, well, yeah.
That's your soundbite.
Is it a
Yeah,
meme?
it's a meme.
Meme. Okay.
Yeah, all right.
I saw other things on Facebook that have a name.
Yeah.
And anyway, they had Nick Saban sending a text.
Yeah.
And so they all said he was texting Kirby Smart to let him know that DeBow was his new adopted father.
Yeah.
So good stuff. Way to go, Facebook.
I saw a meme, as you call him, as well, and it was Nick Saban texting the refs, "Stop calling pass interference," and then that's what happened. But whatever. But I guess it depends on your echo chamber.
Yeah, fair enough. So, all right, coach of the week. I had to give it to Kirby Smart. Great. Besides being a great guy, he's from Montgomery, Alabama. Coach of Georgia. I know we beat him, but interestingly enough, he won the 21 and 22 national championship and had an undefeated Georgia team in last year until we met them in the SEC championship. Alabama beat them, which knocked them out of the playoffs, so they didn't get a chance for a three-peat. But it's kind of interesting. Georgia is undefeated in the last 3 years against every school in the country except one.
Yeah, is that a coaching thing or some other controversial scripted referees?
I think they played some great games, and Alabama's come up on top. That's my thought. Kirby Smart's a great coach. $13 million salary. He was the Alabama defensive coordinator from 08 to 15, so he is a Saban disciple. Had been the head coach at Georgia since 2016. Got a 97-17 record with 2 SEC championships and 6 Eastern championships. That is Kirby Smart. Coach of the week for this week. So moving on. Let's take a look where we've been through about a little more, I guess right at halfway or so.
Just about.
And when the season started, we're in a new era where we're going to have 12 teams make the playoffs. So you're going to have the 4 highest ranked conference champions, and then you'll have 8 folks that get in based on, I would assume, ranking is how they're
Probably
gonna do it.
some magic PowerPoint stuff where
But
media people vote.
we were thinking 4 to 5 SEC teams at first: Texas, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, and Ole Miss. And so I wanted to kind of check in on them. Now Texas is 5-0.
Seems like they're going to.
I think
Set
they're
for now.
all over this thing.
Yep.
Alabama's now 4-0. I think they're in good shape. Tennessee's 4-0.
They're going to meet each other in
Yep.
the near future.
I think they're in good shape. Missouri currently is 4-0.
Still that winning streak I was talking about before.
Yeah. So Kentucky, here's the thing. I think that 2 losses is going to be too many to make the playoffs.
It's hard to say. I mean,
I just don't know.
If they went out, maybe now that they have, beat Ole Miss, maybe there's an argument they slide in at the end. But
Well,
we'll see.
The other one, Georgia, of all the teams left that are really good, Georgia's 3-1. But listen to who Georgia's got left. They've got at Texas.
That's going to be rough.
I don't think they win that game.
I mean,
I think
that's-
Texas gets them.
Yeah. I mean,
So if that makes them, 3-2 or whatever, Florida, and I know we picked on Florida a lot,
I think-
but they played Georgia tough, usually.
this year,
So-
though, it's been kind of rough.
Yeah, maybe not. All right, but then they got at Ole Miss, and because Ole Miss dropped the game at Kentucky, Ole Miss is now in a must-win situation.
Yeah.
So you've got that situation, and Georgia's got Tennessee at home.
Yeah,
and
that's rough,
Tennessee
too.
is playing some really good ball. Anyway, Georgia, of the teams left in the SEC that I think should make the playoffs, I think Georgia has the roughest route to go of all of them. For example, Texas, the only real, I think, challenge left for Texas is Georgia. Alabama's the only thing we've got left big is Tennessee and Missouri.
Yeah.
And Tennessee has Alabama and Georgia ahead of them. So
Yeah, I mean, well, so that makes, if Tennessee wins out, that makes them so number one.
Oh yeah,
I
well
mean,
either
their
Tennessee or
schedule's
Texas.
wild.
Yeah. Yeah, if Tennessee can get by Georgia and Bama, then they're the SEC champ, should be. So,
Yeah.
But anyway,
I, honestly, any of them can drop a game and they'll all be into it.
yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah. I think
guess
one loss you're fine. I think two losses.
if you're
I don't know that you get
Alabama
in.
and you're Georgia and you're Tennessee, there's enough hype around them that you probably still get in. There's 12 spots. I mean,
Well-
who else are they going to put in
Well,
there?
here's the thing. All right, let's run through this a minute. Say Texas, just picking one. Say Texas wins the SEC.
Okay.
They're undefeated. They get through their one. ACC champ gets in. Say it's Miami or Florida, doesn't matter. Whoever.
Okay.
Somebody from out west, Oregon, just for the sake of conversation.
Okay.
That's three. And then whoever the other one is. Fourth is Ohio State.
All right.
Yeah. So top four they're in. That leaves 8 spots. And you're going to have, like, if Clemson wins the ACC or if Miami and Florida does, Clemson's
Okay.
going to end the season one loss.
Yeah.
You're going to have a lot of teams out
They
there.
have like a Michigan.
I think Alabama, the only two tough games they have are Tennessee and Missouri. They may lose to Tennessee, but then they're going to be a one-loss team.
What if they lose to Missouri?
And they go 4-2. Yeah, if they lose both
Yeah,
those
I
games.
mean, even then, it's
but see,
still-
at that point, you're going to have an undefeated Missouri team. The only thing Missouri's got left that's tough is Alabama.
Yeah.
So Missouri could maybe run the table, and then they're in.
Yeah.
See
Even
what I'm
if they
saying?
lose Alabama, they might be in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
that's-
ACC, I just glanced at their conference this morning. They've got several schools in there. They're not as strong as the SEC, but Clemson's for real. They're going to probably be there.
Yeah.
Miami or Florida, I think is real. Duke, and I'm a little skeptical of this, but Duke
Yeah.
is sitting at 5-0. It is 5-0. Are they real? I don't know about that. That might be overstated.
Who they played
but
this year.
anyway, I'm thinking at this point that Texas is going to get in, period. Because at worst, they're going to lose one game probably the rest of the way. I think Alabama gets in because of the win over Georgia, frankly. I think Tennessee's going to get in if they beat Georgia. And that'll be 3. And then I think that even with a loss to Alabama, I think Missouri's going to slide in the number 4. So I think the SEC, to me, I think they're going to put 4 teams in the playoffs this year. That's my thought.
Then they're going to put Navy's going to be in, right? I saw it. Like,
Navy?
they're undefeated.
Well, we know Notre Dame will be there no matter what. So
That's right.
goodness gracious, even if they've lost 5 games, it won't matter. They'll be 12th ranked. So
I was saying Navy has beat such stellar teams as the UAB. They really destroyed them. And Memphis.
it's been a tough schedule.
It's been
tough
rough
schedule.
for 'em.
Yeah, way to go, midshipman.
That's right.
All right, let's look at week 6. Coming up this week for our favorite bartender, Laura, Clemson at Florida State. They're at Florida State. Florida State's 1-4 at this point.
Yeah,
Think
they're-
Clemson just found them, or
Yeah,
is it a
Clemson's
game?
gonna. Yeah, it's not a game.
All right.
It's not this year.
Yeah,
Florida
I
State's
think-
thrown in the towel.
I agree with you. I think Clemson wins. I don't know if they absolutely beat the pants off them, but I think they by 2 touchdowns.
I think that they're winning so big at half they put in the.
Oh, really?
The
That
backups.
bad? Wow.
Florida State has been.
Even at Florida State.
They just haven't been competitive this year.
That's
Look
true.
at their games.
It's absolutely true. All right, so here's the bet for this week. If Vanderbilt does the impossible and beats Alabama, I will wear a Vanderbilt shirt for the remainder of the season. So
I'll become an Alabama
not
fan, I
gonna
guess,
happen.
at that
So-
point.
Mizzou at Texas A&M. That could be good. I'm kind of leaning Missouri. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Missouri it's too much offense. If they have anything, it's
I think
offense.
that's fair. Auburn at Georgia. I think Georgia bounces this week. I think they're angry.
They're going to have to take it out on Auburn. I mean,
Yeah.
then again, Auburn hasn't been great this year either. Their coach has been less than supportive.
I don't know what to do with this one. Ole Miss at South Carolina. Until last week, I would have told you Ole Miss in a blowout.
Yeah.
But after Kentucky beats Ole Miss, I don't know what happens at South Carolina's tough at home.
Yeah, they've been playing hard. They've been keeping it competitive with everyone.
Yeah.
Like they play to their competition, as they say.
Yeah, very true. I would probably lean Ole Miss, but wouldn't surprise me if it went the other way. What do you think on that one?
Yeah, I'm gonna Ole Miss. I'm not picking any upset.
I'm going to go to South Carolina.
Are you?
You think going South Carolina? It's
Producer-
a fair
producer
thought.
Amy-
She could end up being right on that
Producer Amy, fan of the Gamecocks.
one. Tennessee at Arkansas.
No comment.
Yeah. Tennessee at Arkansas. I think again, Tennessee's got a lot of weapons. Arkansas's they're tough.
I don't think Tennessee chokes this one.
No,
I think that's.
I'm
Yeah.
going to have to say Tennessee as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. The game they call the Medlin. Been doing this for years down there. Texas at Oklahoma. It should be a good game, even though obviously Texas is a better football team.
Tejas.
These two are a big rival.
Yeah.
I'm going Tejas.
Yeah. She said Tejas. She's being
Tejas.
yeah.
Tejas.
She's saying Texas wrong.
Oh.
That's
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like
picking on the old guy.
that's kind of like a Michigan State thing. I feel like they always
No, it is.
they always
doesn't
make it
matter.
really
It's
close.
Alabama, Auburn.
Yeah, exactly.
I
It's
don't
just
care if Auburn hadn't won a game all year. We go into Auburn, it's going to be a 3-point game.
yeah.
You
I mean, it depends. Well, again, if Texas starts Arch, it's a blowout.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. The Manning clan
That's all right.
speaks again.
That's all
All
right.
Well, here is what could be. I can't believe I'm saying this. Florida. This could be the last opportunity for Florida to win this year. Not kidding. UCF at Florida, and I'm not trying to disrespect UCF. UCF might get them, but it's in the swamp. I would lean Florida only because it's at Florida, but it is Central Florida. It's really a home game for both of them, arguably. But it's in the swamp. I'm going to go Florida. What do you think?
I'm going Florida.
Florida this time, and only because after watching Colorado really dismantle UCF, and Colorado's okay. You know?
All right, a couple other teams I wanted to kick around a little bit, just from other conferences. Some folks that are kind of just making some noise. I think, again, I do believe that Clemson's going to come back and get in the playoffs. I think they're going to win the ACC. I think they beat Miami, Florida in the ACC championship. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who else would have a shot unless Duke pulls something shocking off, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to put any money on Duke. So if it were basketball, maybe. But anyway, I think Clemson's in the race. Miami and Florida's certainly in the running. Ohio State's going to be there. I just don't think there's anybody else up there that can compete with Ohio State. So I think they're absolutely in it. Oregon looks pretty strong out of the West. Those are some other teams that I think have got a really good shot going forward playoff-wise, potentially. And that's kind of the predictions on that. So let's move on. I understand we have some folks we want to recognize that have something to do with food. You want to talk a little bit about them?
Yep. This week we're gonna do a little commercial for a local hot dog place, Danny's Downtown Dogs.
Danny's Downtown Dogs. All right.
Yep.
Craving something truly unique and delicious? Look no further than Danny's Downtown Dogs in the heart of Suffolk. Introducing the legendary Suffolk Dog, a flavor explosion of hot dog, creamy peanut butter, and sweet, crispy candied bacon. It's a taste sensation that's sure to satisfy your cravings. Danny's Downtown Dogs isn't just about great food. It's about creating unforgettable memories. That's why they are proud to be named Best Hot Dog, Best Takeout, and Best Kid-Friendly Restaurant by the Suffolk News Herald. Come experience the magic of Danny's Downtown Dogs. They're your go-to spot for delicious food and friendly service. Visit them today or order online for pickup or Uber Eats. Satisfy your curiosity with the Suffolk Dog. Whether you're a local or just passing through, Danny's Downtown Dogs is the must-visit spot for hot dog lovers. So come on down and experience a taste of Suffolk.
They are bustin', as the kids say.
All right. I want to go back and visit something that we've talked about previously on this show. All right. So there was I'm going to get you to tell this story again. All right. So the part I remember about this was that one of the colleges had a kid that was supposed to get some money, I guess NIL wise. Did you say he didn't get paid, or he just didn't like how much he was getting paid? Do you remember?
Yeah, so the idea was he was promised a certain amount of NIL money.
Okay.
And it was UNLV, Matthew Sluka.
Okay.
And he quit UNLV because he didn't get the commitments and quotes that were promised to him, which was I think it was $100K. UNLV was undefeated. When he walked away, they started 3-0. And it was an interesting story in light of our previous NIL conversations.
Well, all right, and I've been on the record here. I'm not crazy about this NIL idea, but we were talking before the show started, and producer Amy makes some pretty good arguments, and I wanted to kind of hear some of that, let you guys hear some of her thoughts on this, because I think there's, like in most arguments, there's valid points on both sides. Tell us about why you think the kid ought to get some money. What he can't do that makes it where he should get some, and then why he should get some.
So, if you are playing for a Division I school, your life is going to consist of just school. Theoretically, you're attending classes, right? I imagine that's part of it.
And I think in most places, yeah.
That's expected that you're going to go to
You're going to be there.
Yeah, you're going to go to class. So you're doing school and you're doing practice. So you don't have time to have a job, to maybe have a social life.
And I think that's practical. There's no way these kids could, you're traveling with your football team or whatever sport, any sport, and so they can't work. That's fair.
If your entire life is nothing but school and work, essentially, because in the case of Division I, football is your job, or basketball is your job, whatever your lacrosse,
absolutely
tennis,
fair.
whatever
and
it is.
And a lot of them are on scholarship, so
you may be on scholarship, and if you're on a scholarship, chances are your family is not able to send you out money all the time for extras. And if you're spending, anybody, not just 19, 20, 21 year olds, anybody that is all work and no play, you end up jumping off the dorm building or shooting yourself, or maybe shooting other people. That stress is going to get to anybody, and I don't think that it's fair to expect these kids, these boys. I mean, I know they're men, I know they're adults, but I mean, come on, they're children still. They're barely out of home, to behave in a manner that is not what any other adult is going to do.
And most of us are honest enough to admit when we were 18 to 22, we were not the brightest, crayons in the box. I mean, these are still young guys or girls, either one, not just fellas, but one of the things with these athletes, though, is if they're able to get paid, I would be better if they just do it across the board, pick a number. I don't know what the number is. In my brain, I'm thinking 30, 40 grand. I know in some worlds that's a lot of money. In other worlds, that's no money at all. But it's a decent figure where there'd always be money in their checking account. If they wanted a burger, they could go get one. I think
they
you give
could go
it
to
the,
a movie,
the punter, the kicker, the left tackle, the right tackle, But Jason's or Gold's argument is, if let's say that, pick that 17-year-old Ryan Williams. Okay, he has a great season like he's having so far, and he's on what was the game you were talking about? EA Sports.
Okay,
EA, and if they're using his name and likeness and whatever, and they're making all this money off of that, why shouldn't he get a bigger, cut or whatever?
Right.
I mean,
it would be like if your boss at your day job owned your face and name. So you go do something that gets some sort of attention, and that person has to pay your boss, and you see none of it.
And I get none of it.
Right.
And see, that's valid.
These kids, most of them aren't going to be pros. Most of them aren't even going to be semi-pros. And all it takes is one bad hit. All it takes is for you to step wrong once, and you jack up your Achilles, or you destroy your knee or your back, or you get enough head injuries that one car accident could kill you. All it takes is one bad day on the field, And while you may be able to live a relatively normal life, that doesn't mean that you're not going to be dealing with a lifelong injury.
Well, that's right.
And now you aren't going to be getting that anymore, and you don't have
This is one of the things
something
we
in
talked
the
about
bank.
earlier. Is okay, they may the school like say you know how we've seen where players get carted off the field or whatever. The school may in fact cover the injury, the surgery or whatever, but
That
what
doesn't
about the
cover
rest?
your life.
Exactly. You know,
That
this
doesn't
kid
cover your
this
life.
kid's walking funny the rest of his life.
And the big NIL deals could be beneficial in that way too, because you look at pros, you look at like Adrian Peterson, right? AP had like a terrible ripped up knee, had the best surgeon that at the time do it, came back, had 8 more years, had great years in the NFL after that. So if you're Shedeur Sanders, you make $5.5 million a year in NIL deals. You can get Dr. Andrews to do your knee. I mean, you're also Deion Skid, special, but you can versus the school. Maybe they get that guy from Alabama, who's probably a great surgeon because he's associated with Alabama.
Well,
but
let me pose this question though. Okay, how we've had recently more so than before. A lot of kids are like, I'm not playing in a bowl game. I'm just not. Say your school's not in the playoffs, but you're getting $1.5 million from whomever.
yeah,
I think they should have to play. I think those folks have paid for
Oh
them.
no, I agree with that. I think if you have a sponsorship or you have a deal with the school or the NIL where you're getting paid this or you're getting paid this much money, if you refuse some pay, you should get fined. Just like the NFL and all the other professional sports.
I completely live with that. It's a really good idea.
If you make poor decisions off the field, you can get fined.
I'm sure the NIL people, we talked about this a little bit before the show, like you need to put that in your contract. If your car dealership, whatever, he wants to be like, I'm going to pay Arch Manning to do a commercial, and then Arch Manning goes and gets, whatever, DUI or something, then they can take some of that money. Or if you don't play in the bowl game, I think that's between you and Nike or whoever.
So
and
you're gonna
I
have
mean, there's a
contracts
difference.
you're going to have a ton of side contracts, aren't you, with all these different players?
Obviously, yeah. And that's kind of the big argument.
Yeah.
is colleges are saying they don't have the influence over the players
really- I mean,
because now
that-
Nike does.
Well, now
Okay,
that
so-
handicaps the coach. 'Cause what if the coach says, all right, so Miss Amy's softball pitcher for her team, and you're the coach, and you say, all right, I'm not pitching you this game, and her sponsor, whose city they're probably playing in, by the way, and says, well, she's playing this series, we need her in there. I mean, that's...
I think that you may be making a big assumption. Just like, who's saying that Nike is having more control over who is in the field than the actual school?
I'm
Because
just-
I don't think any coach, unless the coach has a deal with Nike as well, that I don't think they're allowing an outside influence
I think your
to determine who is
coaches
playing.
would say that she's right. We're the ones running the show, but I think the meetings quietly, behind the scenes are going to be entirely different. And then when I say different, I mean I think you're going to have some guys showing up going, "You think you're not playing? Son, we got X number of dollars on you. You're playing."
But okay, they can't control. There's a difference between the student or the player saying, I'm not going to play, and then maybe they have this other outside force saying, you can't just not play.
Yeah.
Versus the coach saying, hey, you did XYZ off the field during the week, so I'm sitting you out this week. That I think it is very bold to assume that Nike has that kind of pull. They don't do that on the NFL.
I mean, Nike, I'm using that as a
No, I'm saying
variable, but
I know we're using Nike as the
Just a
generic and all.
generic.
Like it's the
don't
it's,
sue us, Nike.
yeah.
We're not talking about you.
We love you,
Well,
Nike. But I mean,
But the point's valid. It's okay. How much influence is the NIL sponsor going to have on either the coach and or school and or whoever's making the decision over these players? And I think the pressure's going to be. I think the pressure will get bigger and bigger the further we go into this. Let me switch gears on you though. All right. So what do you do about the lacrosse team or the swim team or the equine team or whatever? They just don't draw like football or basketball. They're not ever gonna.
I mean, I think that is it's just one of those things. Like
It's the
life
WNBA
is
argument.
life is not fair.
Yeah, it's the WNBA argument.
Life is not
They don't
fair.
get paid. They
Okay.
get paid $80K a year because their TV draw is minuscule compared to the regular NBA.
My argument for that, though, with the NFL is women's basketball is not, on a professional level like this, has not been around as long, and it's not getting as much push from media either.
Well, all the recently. The
Right.
recent
Well,
Caitlin
only,
Clark
but
has changed.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm saying they've not
But
been getting
historically, you're
right.
you're absolutely right.
Historically,
Yeah. Sure.
they're automatically getting written off because they're not. And I'm not trying to be all it's the patriarchy right now. It's not, but it kind of is. You know, men's basketball has been it. Oh, now we have women's basketball, but they're kind of the redheaded stepchildren.
Until Caitlin Clark, I feel like they didn't have
Exactly.
the product. And now she's added some excitement because it's made
Right.
that team better. She's got that drama with
Right.
with Angel, which has been great.
And I'm
Yep.
telling
I mean,
you,
it's Jordan.
It's a
as we
bird
get-
magic's what it
It
is.
is. It
as
is.
we get more Caitlin Clarks out in the world, whether it's lacrosse or basketball or tennis or swimming or equine, like you said,
I don't know about all that, right?
dancing horses, whatever
Yeah,
it is,
yeah.
we're going to see not just the professional versions pushing it more. We're going to see the schools pushing it more, and they're going to be more willing. Nothing says that they're ineligible for NIL, does it?
Nope. Nope.
It's just
Not at
right
all.
now that's not the draw.
Correct.
Okay, but things change.
Good
Just
things
like
could
women's
change.
rugby, the Olympics brought women's rugby to the forefront,
Right.
and like
Now there's more interest in it.
there's more
Yeah.
interest in it, and that isn't that kind of the goal? As things become more popular, it's a position that it can be more flexible.
All right, well, guys, there you have it. We're going to have to leave it there for this week. This is an ongoing conversation that I suspect we will have many, many more times, both on this show and in other venues as well. Let me throw a couple thank you out there. Thank you to our new favorite bartender, Miss Laura. Thank you to Recovery Sports Grill. Thank you to Andy Talent for doing our music. Thank you for producer Amy for putting up with Gold and I. And thank all of you for joining us. Let's go back. Just remember, like and subscribe. If we can get 100 subscribers, the offer's still on the table, so we're going to be looking to push that this week. 100 subscribers. Thank you guys. God bless.